Hi, Claire. I'm Claire Chancho from Green Roads. Um, would like to today to give you our take on AI, IoT for smarter cities, and what we are here to achieve, and our vision for a better tomorrow. So whenever I think about things, I always like to start with why. Why are we doing what we are doing? Why are we organizing this conference? Why are we going in this direction as a country and as a world? It's always in the hope of a better tomorrow. We spend the majority of our days working 9 to 5, what's left, sleep, basic needs. And I think that our essence should be focused primarily on the why. And this pulls everything together. It gives meaning, gives a sense of purpose. We live in a world which is basically full of buildings, full of private spaces. And the only space left in between is roads and open spaces. And we need to take care of those well, even when we're planning for smart cities, when we're looking at the world of tomorrow. And of course, the theme of today is technology, AI. It's about IoT, and it plays a big part in transforming and in developing our cities for tomorrow. Public officials from transport, planning, infrastructure need to have real information at their fingertips so they can orchestrate all the different modes, the current ones that we have today and the ones of the future when it comes to the different dimensions of mobility, like C, when it comes to the different new technologies like connected vehicles, we always need to keep in mind the variety and the mix of transport that we have. And I'm talking primarily as well because I come from Green Roads, and obviously, as the name indicates, it's a combination of a better environment, a better future within our public spaces, primarily roads. And we always need to start with the human dimension. So it's fine, technology, there's so much advancement when it comes to new connected sensors, new data that's being generated, new means of technology. But at the core, why are we doing this? We are doing this to improve the quality of life of citizens. We are doing this for equity, for justice, so that everybody, no matter their ability, no matter their financial ability or their physical ability, can move well and can have equal opportunities within society. And in fact, I think it's very important to also look at the environmental dimension, because technology, society, comfort cannot
Okay, there seems to be some technical issues. We'll be working on that.
roads and open spaces are developing. They need to become smart. There's lots of IoT devices being connected, from sound, pollution, vehicle sensors, movement sensors, identifying how to improve and how to optimize flows of different vehicles and different people. But it's also important to understand how all this can fit in to bringing a better tomorrow. The idea is always primarily to make cities more livable. What do we mean by more livable cities? We mean cities that are designed, yes, to keep on accommodating our traditional means. We're used to moving by vehicle, we're used to public transport, so it's important to have that kind of infrastructure, but it's also important to understand how to facilitate and how to optimize for the different modes like cycling, walking, and public transport. How do we improve policies? How do we improve designs of our road network in order to accommodate and to make the best use of our space? Especially we come from Malta, and maybe more than other nations, we do understand that space is limited, it's highly valuable, it means, and it's not just land on which we move, but it's also a financial income for most people. So it is important to balance the different needs. If it's the needs of the coffee shop to have an outdoor area in order to have more clients, if it's the need for shops to have the necessary pavement so that people can walk by and move from one place to another and buy the products and spend their time outdoors as well. Places are becoming increasingly small. So because of expenses, because of our economic limitations, one can't possibly always have, especially with how the world is evolving, we all want to stay close to each other, and in order to stay close to each other, we can't afford to have a lot of private green outdoor spaces. So the way of how an individual experiences the world, of how a tourist experiences our country when they're here, depends a lot on roads, depends on open spaces. Because of course, when you enter a private property, it's either yours or you have to pay for a service or to consume a product. But the roads are there for everyone, essentially. And we need to understand from today, what is the situation today? What is our limitations? What are our assets? What are our different capacities in order to get things done? IoT and smart cities here will play a significant part because they will give all the right information to country officials in order to design and to optimize and to create legislation that makes our lives better. But in order to do that, if you want to come up with the best plan for future generations, you always start from what is the situation now? And in order to understand what is the situation now, authorities depend on themselves and consultants in order to provide them this real-time information. And I also believe that the city needs to own its own data sources, right? So right now there's lots of emphasis, lots of new ideas, new technology companies, automotive industry is developing, it's big, it's strong. It will always try to leverage its way and to sell data to government and try and promote roads which accommodate more that type of mode. But in the end, it's all about a balancing act and creating a future which is not just for today, but tomorrow. Where do we want to go as a society? Where do we want to go as Malta? Where is European Union going? What are the different priorities that we need to align ourselves? The Green Deal, the active mobility, different rights, zero road debts. And infrastructure and how we manage it is not just about physical, but there's also a digital layer. And this is why this effort is being done in conjunction. And we come in by, as a company, we were set up to empower government entities, government officials coming from transport, infrastructure, planning, different localities who have different priorities in different areas to understand better the roads and public spaces. And with them, of course, urban planners, architects, and all those who have a significant say need to use these IoT devices. Traditionally, they would use, for example, more the pneumatic tubes that would be installed on the road networks in order to understand how many vehicles are passing through. But those are limited. They can only stay there for a set period of time. There's the cost of installation and taking them out. Whereas now we're moving into a world which is connected. In fact, what we do is by coincidence, AI and IoT. For us, it's a means to an end. We want to build, in the end, future-proof cities. that are committed not just for the vehicles, but also for more active modes of transport. And we found out through talking to different entities locally and abroad that there are lots of sensors already installed out there, lots of cameras, which are gathering data, maybe used in control rooms, and we are harnessing and transforming the data in a very cost-effective manner, giving an idea of what's happening on the roads now, what has happened yesterday. You can generate different kinds of reports. Of course, by doing this, we're talking about cameras, there's GDPR data, but AI doesn't care who the person is, doesn't care the number plate, doesn't care the vehicle type. It recognizes the different mode. What is it? Is it a bus? Is it a commercial vehicle? Is it a passenger vehicle? Is it an individual? How are they moving on the different road space? How are they interacting? What is the different mediums? What is the preferred flow? And we're using a lot open science, open data, open standards. We believe in communication is key, and government being the owner of this infrastructure, of course, like it has always been, but it also needs to own data. Data is going to be the new oil of the future. If we lose out on harvesting our own oil as a country, our own data as a country, we will lose out on our positioning when it comes to smart city, when it comes to welcoming and adopting to the new connected vehicles that are coming around very close. But it's not just those. We need to also keep in mind and respect the needs of pedestrians and cyclists as we adapt and as we modify into a more evolved world. And this is just a sample, so our technology can work as Green Rose. We've developed this, it's out there, it's already working. It can use simple security devices, and it can transform these into state-of-the-art devices, generating real-time and allowing one to visualize reports. So for example, this is a very simple road in a local agricultural village, and you can see clearly from the pedestrians, which are indicated by orange lines, you can see the favorite spots of where pedestrians are walking. Where are they spending their time? Which are their preferred crossing routes? Where do we need to protect? Where do we need to assert and take care that there is the right kind of adaptation? This is also a simple screenshot from our dashboard indicating over a period of time the different modes of vehicles moving in the space, and as well the turning ratios. It's very important to understand where are vehicles originating, where are they going to, the distribution of that, where are they exiting, where are they entering, and it's not just for vehicles, it can be for pedestrians, it can be for cyclists, it can be for the different modes and over a period of time. Of course, if there is an event, a particular event, there will be different movement patterns, and these movement patterns can be used to understand and to plan for next time around, to make sure that there is the right park and rides, to make sure that there is the right kind of services to connect and to ensure that traffic keeps on moving, that the flow keeps on moving, but at the same time, pedestrians also have the necessary infrastructure and the necessary protection. And in fact, we're very lucky, even though we're a small company based in Malta, our strength is not just that of our team, our scientists, our innovators, who I'm very happy to say are amongst the best in the island. We're based within the University of Malta. We're mostly all locally educated, and we understand the need to cooperate with others, because if we just look until our immediate needs, we will never be truly ready to be part of a larger ecosystem. It's all about integration in the end of the day. It's useless to have the best technology unless your technology talks to others, and it has to talk to others automatically, seamlessly. And in fact, we're involved in this project. It's called Marvel. It's about data analytics for smart cities. So what does that mean? It means different kinds of data is being generated from different kinds of sensors all over the world. Could be sound, could be visual, could be pollution sensors, could be pressure sensors, could be weather data that also affects, could be timetables of schools, could be everything else is coming and it needs to be understood. And nowadays, with all this technology, it's evolving. It's evolving for processing on the edge, meaning if you have a sensor, you can also process data there on the sensor. IoT can adapt. It doesn't always have to have intelligent sensors. It could have the cheapest sensors, like for example, our strategy is to use, in fact, off-the-shelf solutions, security devices, which are not very expensive to install, and they're already widely available and deployed globally, and connect to those and process the data on a fog layer. So a server which would be owned and managed by the local government that would in turn translate and retain this data for future understanding and for future processing. The project started in January 2021, and it's running for 36 months. So this is a separate thing, separate from the product of Green Roads, but at the same time, there's lots of leverage because we're learning a lot and we're developing and optimizing together with these 17 organizations from 12 different European countries and substantial funding in order to get things going. This is an H2020 project. We'll also have a launch in Malta within the end of the year or beginning of next. So look out and feel free to ask us for more information. This is a diagram explaining what Marvel does. So okay, Green Roads is mostly focused on the road network, but primarily the same technology can be used to manage open spaces. It can be used to manage and to record if there's, for example, a theft in a car park, or if there's a theft in an open square, if there are unusual screens, unusual crowds, unusual movements. It doesn't care about the individuals again, but it pinpoints of when there is an anomaly happening. And this is something that we're working on very efficiently together with our team on the Marvel project about identifying where these anomalies are happening and what can we do in order to highlight these to the enforcement or to the authorities in charge in order to manage the situation. If there is a theft, if there is vandalism happening in the area, one needs to know and one needs to act quickly in order to prevent damage. If there is an accident, the sooner we service that accident, the sooner our roads will be able to flow naturally. If we wait until the next shift and we wait until a report is submitted or the normal, we will always have things to improve. So this is why it's very important to understand a connected city, a connected infrastructure where all the systems are talking to each other. If there is maintenance that needs to be done, or if there's clearing of the roads that needs to be done, they're done efficiently in order to promote the natural flow and to allow people to get to their jobs, to get to their interviews, to get to their next destination. A city is as healthy as the movement of its people. And I think that is one of the primary rights that we as Green Roads are focusing on, and together with Marv, we are continuing to develop. Finally, it's whatever we do, I think, and it's with the hope of a better world. And whatever happens, one needs to stay hopeful. One needs to look towards how can we do things better, how can we safeguard the rights of the generations, but how can we also improve on the modus operandi. If we've been doing things in a particular way and they've been working fine, but there's always space for improvement. And we need to make sure that not just as a community, not just as a locality, but also as a world, we keep on evolving and hoping for a better tomorrow. And if you are like us with the same frame of mind, I invite you to join us. I invite you to reach out, to ask questions, The intention of this is to be also a dynamic event. And if you'd like to get together after, very happy to join for a coffee or to meet up virtually like we're doing today to continue the conversation. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire, for your interesting intervention regarding AI and also the future of smarter cities as well. If any of the attendees would like to ask any questions, maybe we can answer straight away, or you can get in touch, as Claire mentioned, afterwards, after the webinar, and we'll get in touch. Claire will get in touch with you with feedback accordingly. I thank you again for your interesting intervention. Hope to have more green roads very soon as well here in Malta. So the concept is very interesting, and actually as well, the information that it gathers is something to be used as an important tool for the future as well. So thank you, Claire. I don't know if anyone would like to ask any questions, and we can close off the session now.
In the meantime, maybe you'd like to ask any questions yourself, Roderick. You've seen something you'd like some more detail that I maybe omitted, or you'd like to
the
discuss.
PowerPoint was actually very interesting, yes, and seeing that road and the pedestrian movement in that snapshot is actually very interesting. Sometimes we get the wrong vision of things, you know what I mean? So, for example, we say something should be set up there, but instead it should be set up somewhere else. Like, for example, I don't know, a zebra cross or just simple traffic lights. So these results that you can bring on and actually consult with the necessary stakeholders can help a lot improve all the overall, let's say, logistics of transport here locally and also abroad. So I think at that point with the PowerPoint it was very, very clear. From my side, what I discuss is when and how it can be actually implemented. That's all.
Exactly. So technology is not just there for enforcement. We're used to having, security cameras which take a snapshot if you're moving too fast. You get a speeding ticket if you're not abiding if you're not moving within the designated speed limits. But there's much more that can be done. And it's not just about virtual dynamic signs asking you to slow down. It's if you're moving at a particular speed, but it's vast. Our creativity is the limit, but of course we need to work within what is permissible by law and how can we design a better world together. And this understanding of movements of people, in fact, goes a long way, as you said. Pedestrian crossings, traffic lights, identifying how to optimize the different designs, identifying what education campaign should we do. Are vehicles driving too much within the designated pathways for cyclists? Can we run education campaigns? Are these areas clear as they need to be? Do they need to? Is there the need for maintenance? Is there the need for more information on how one uses their indicator? How is a particular junction being used by the different modes? How can we alert the different? It's all a question of understanding the current scenario and where do we want to go. So it's the why is very important, because otherwise we will just end up like many other intelligent transport solutions and many other systems which primarily are designed for the vehicle, which primarily are driven by the motor industry. In our case, it's more about understanding the needs of society, understanding how to make governments autonomous and allowing governments to manage their own data, to own and harness their own data and retain it. Not just harvest it, but also use it on demand when they need it in order to understand the different patterns and how different scenarios, how different situations, if you implemented a measure, how did it affect, how did it result? You can, in real time, adjust and optimize the various use of road space, especially when we come to designing more pedestrian-friendly environments, when it comes to understanding how cyclists move on the road. Are the designated areas being used for cyclists? Do cyclists prefer to move on another area? How do they flow? What are the difficulties? Where are they stopping? Where is the natural flow being? It's our imagination, as I say, is always the limit when
Yes.
one has
It's
the right
infinite, actually, what
information.
can be done through something like this. So thank you
Exactly.
very much, Claire, for your intervention. As I said previously, thanks also for bringing up some very real examples. So that's a very nice scenario that you brought before that can actually facilitate also the traffic movement. So thank you very much. And I would like also to hear from you in the near future as well.
Very well. Thank you for this
Thank you.
opportunity.